You excited to pick some fruit?
Yes.
So at Capital Reef, they have little orchards all over the place, and right now apricots are in season, so we're gonna go pick some apricots. So last night's spot, again, was amazing. We've been finding so many great national forest, BLM, just free spots out in the middle of nowhere as soon as we got into Utah. There were a lot in California and Arizona, but it was a little bit hot there, so we didn't stay at them. We stayed at the one at the Grand Canyon, but overall, we've been finding lots and lots of great spots out here. So if you're trying to go on the cheap, the Southwest is really, really easy to find boondocking spots. Now we're off to Capital Reef National Park, so we're gonna go do all the viewpoints there. So they're apparently 100% free to pick and eat. You only have to pay if you actually take them. So let's pick a fresh apricot here. I don't have any way to rinse it, but those are good. So these orchards were planted by the original settlers to this area back in the 1800s, which were Mormons to the Fruita area. They homestead this area and stuff. They planted, there's apricots, we walked past some pears, I believe there's apples. They manually tilled the land and everything. And so, yeah, they lived here. They lived here apparently without even a tractor until the 1930s, without power until like 1947 is what I read. So they really just lived off the land until pretty recently, really, when you think about it. So I concede to you. The other day we were debating which we like the smell of more, and this was when we were staying in Bryson. I said that I preferred the smell of the ponderosa pines that we were currently staying in at that time, and Caitlin said she preferred the smell of the higher altitude junipers that we were smelling in Grand Canyon. During this hike I passed 3 or 4 juniper trees and they smelled amazing. I think that's it for us for today. I think we're gonna drive over towards Canyonlands area and boondock there in the heat using our generator, so that tomorrow, first thing, we can visit Canyonlands. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. We got everything pretty much packed up. We're going off to Canyonlands today. Our goal was to get there for the sunrise this morning, which would have meant getting up at 4 a.m. and leaving at about 5-ish. So that clearly happened. Yeah. But I think instead tonight we're gonna see if we can make it to Arches, to I think it's Monument Arch or Landmark Arch, and see if we can watch the sunset from there. We're gonna put our last few things up and head out. So we are doing the Grand View Trail, which is 1 mile out and 1 mile back at Canyonlands. Canyonlands is kind of separated into 4 separate zones, as they say. The only zone we're gonna go to, which we're at right now, is called the Island in the Sky. And it's because you're at such a huge mesa point that you feel like you're on an island way up in the sky. In fact, right in front of me is a mesa that is completely detached from everything and looks like an island. So I believe we're about 2,000 feet above the canyon floor. The other 3 zones, the second most accessible, because Island in the Sky is the most accessible zone, the second most accessible zone is called the Needles, which is south of here. Right now we're about a 30 to 40 minute drive out of Moab. The Needles are about an hour drive south of Moab. Then there's the Maze, which is about a 2 to 3 hour drive from basically any form of civilization. The Maze is on the west side of the park, and it's actually all 3 zones are separated by a river. So the 4th zone is the rivers. So did you know that when you go down taller steps that you do this little dance?
Hey.
And you put 1 foot down the first step, and the next step you put the opposite foot down. And it looks like you're almost dancing down the stairs. So we're at our campsite in Moab, and we found out we're getting ready to take the truck camper off of the truck. And I found out these jacks we use, that we used in Virgin, Utah, they have bars that go across them and wood planks that sit on top of those bars. Well, we apparently left those in Virgin. So I guess what we're gonna try to do here is just see how these will sit. I have 2x4s on the bottom of this. I guess we're just gonna put them on the 2x4s and see how well that works, if that distributes the load well enough. That combined with these jacks, we're just gonna give it a try. That's all we can do. And so we're off. We're going to Arches to see if there's parking and possibly do the hike up to Delicate Arch to watch the sunset. Hopefully we'll be able to find parking and hopefully we'll make it up and get to see it. But we're at least gonna try. It'll be our first dedicated sunset of the trip. Are you excited?
Yes.
So Delicate Arch is kind of the symbol of Utah. So if there's any one thing to see while we're here, it's a sunset at that arch. So we made it, and there was parking
Galore.
So there's a main parking lot on the trail side, and then there's a parking lot on the other side. And the parking lot on the trail side is huge. It has spots for RVs, trucks, and everything. Funny thing was, went into the bathroom because we're gonna be waiting at the top for 2 hours, and they had a sign in the bathroom telling people not to use the floor as the bathroom. That just, some things you don't think that you need to tell people, but apparently somebody...
We worked at the outdoor pool. Some things you need to tell people.
Apparently enough people have used the floor as a bathroom that warranted them putting up a sign that says, do not use the floor as a bathroom, use the toilet. That was both amazing and disappointing. I only say disappointing because we came out here for sunset and the sun still hasn't fully set. We were like 10 minutes from final sunset, but it's raining where the sun is setting. So none of the really nice colors that you would see from a sunset are coming down on the arch. So we decided to go out, head back to the car while we still have a little bit of light through the hardest part. So, because this first part right by the arch it can be a little bit of a maze. So I didn't think I would have to say this, but if you're going on one of these hikes, bring plenty of water. And a single 12-ounce bottle per person is not plenty. A 2 12-ounce bottles for 4 people is definitely not going to cut it. So we passed a person who had I think 2 or 3 kids with him, and they only had 2 12-ounce bottles, and both of them had already been empty, and they were about 3/4 of the way to the arch. So they had to hike to the arch, and then they had to hike back. So we went ahead and gave them some water from ours because we overpack for everything. But yeah, make sure and bring plenty of water.
I don't think this is how we went down.
Yeah, I don't think this is the trail. I think the trail is this sign back here behind us. So let's go this way, towards the sign. So Arches National Park has some 2,000 arches but most of them are actually so tiny that you're either never going to see them or you're walking right past them and not noticing them. But I think to be classified as an arch, it has to be 3 feet or larger. So behind us is landscape arch. The interesting thing about landscape arch is actually it wasn't supposed to be called landscape arch. It's supposed to be called delicate arch. And then whenever they were making it a national park, they accidentally put the names in the wrong spots. They opened the park and tourists saw landscape arch as this one and delicate arch as the famous one that's on Utah's license plate. And the name just stuck. There was nothing they could do. They couldn't change it back. But this one here originally was supposed to be called delicate arch, and you can clearly see why it was supposed to be called delicate arch. But it's landscape arch, and delicate arch is the really scenic one. That's a really nice landscape to it. Well, I think we're done at arches for today. I am pretty exhausted between the last 3 days, because we've done 3 national parks in 3 days. So tomorrow's just going to be a driving day. We're going to find a spot to stop and camp, and that's it. But I think we're done for today. Okay, so everything's ready to go. We've done our full checklist on the truck. Tanks are full. Well, the freshwater tank's full. All the other tanks are empty. We're good to go. Today is Colorado. So the last state that we haven't been through on our trip.
You want to back in because you want our heads higher, and this is very tilted like this.
Okay.
That's straight up, and you're going to be in the dip. Yeah, keep going. Slow down. I think you're in the dip, and slightly hitting a tree, but in the dip. Really moving yet. Okay. There. It says falling shut on your knees.
That's pretty unlevel.
Yeah.
I think we've dealt with worse at Walmart's than this. But
rolling up.
That's much, much better. It's still not level, but
it's probably the best we're gonna get.
It was a little bit slower. We're just gonna go with that.
Okay.
It wasn't slower.
It's falling shut on your knees.
So we have made it to our spot. We are probably 3 to 4 miles from the main entrance of the Black Canyons of Gunnison National Park. And we have a beautiful view. Mountains back behind us over here. We're just nestled back in this very, very unlevel spot. So we got ourselves about as level as we can, which is not very level. We're gonna pack everything up and call it a night. And tomorrow, next video, is going to be Gunnison National Park. And after discussing it on the drive here, it's only like an extra 100 miles out of our way to drive to the Great Sand Dunes National Park. So we're gonna go there
Yeah.
before going to Colorado Springs and Rocky Mountain National Park.